Hello, everybody. For those of you that don't know me, yep, I'm Des Gayle, and I'm originally from the UK, but now I live here in the middle of nowhere in Germany because my wife wears the trousers. So um, today I wanted to just talk to you about transmedia and why I love it and how it's inspired me to work on too many projects. Um, so the reason why I love transmedia is because it caters to my many different moods. So sometimes I want to play interactive content like games, um, but I don't know about the rest of you, but because I work in games, sometimes at the end of the day, the last thing I want to do is actually play another game. Um, and other times like today, if today ever ends, um I just like sit on the sofa and consuming content through TV and film. And then other times I don't like screens at all. Like I just want to go outside, sit in the garden, and get stuck into a comic book. um I was trying to think about why I like my content in different formats like that, and I think it's because they deliver different experiences. um I mean, video games, I think we've got unique tools that can provide the next level of immersion for us to enjoy. Um, and then I think I like film and TV because they're scripted experiences. Like, the director has a specific intent. Like they want to show you this content in from a specific angle, and I love the creativity that comes from that. And then for comic books, like it's all about the art. Like I'm a big fan of you know saying things without saying them. Like comic books, a picture paints 1,000 words, and I love how in 28 to 32 pages you can get a really great story, like sometimes two. Um so that's cool. And then as I do more work for my own studio, it just made me think about another angle to these transmedia, and that was kind of down to not just moods, but like preferences and budget. So, you know, video game technology is getting crazy these days, and even though a lot of us are doing really cool things with not a lot of money, um, at the other end, like 15 to sometimes 70, 80 pounds is quite prohibitive to some. So as mentioned, I used to work on Life is Strange. That was episodic, and that was a way of mitigating like that upfront cost. Um, I've I've got bad memories from doing episodic games. It's just really hard, and like Square had loads of money, and it was still difficult. I wouldn't advocate doing that. Um, so for me, like I've kind of thought, well, if I've got this like story verse that I want to tell over a series of different projects, not just games, um, I need to offer that in different formats. So by doing it through different formats, that can allow me to play with like budgets on the developer side, because obviously getting funding for stuff is more difficult than it should be. Um, and also the other side. So if someone does want to play, 30, £40 for a game that I've made, they can pay £5 or £6 for a comic. Um, yeah. And I guess for me, like my ego is not that big, but I do want as many people as possible to experience the stories that I make. Um, and yeah, I believe that means I have to deliver them in different formats. So uh, with the kind of like section 42 storyverse that I've made with a couple of collaborators, um, it just got to a point where I was writing the story for one game and it just got too big. I had the opposite of writer's block one weekend, and just words came spilling out of me. And then I, spoke to a friend who's an actually proper writer, and he was like, "Hey, why don't you split these up into different things?" So yeah, he was very good and helped me. And he's like, oh, "Okay, this one could be a comic book. That would be a good fit. Or have you thought about an animated movie?" And I was like, "I know nothing about making films, but yes, this would be a good thing to do. So no problem." Um, so that's one thing, and that's for like I don't know, 10 years down the line by the time it takes me to amass that knowledge that I have that matches having video games. Um, so yeah, then I guess to bring it back to the funding. So I decided what project to work, and I was thinking, well, comic books are cheap, right? Apparently, um, and I thought, okay, why don't I try and kickstart it? Um, yeah, Kickstarter failed. Um, but I did learn a lot, so rough with the smooth. We'll come back again next time and have another go. Um, but yeah, so the company was one little budget, and then luckily we managed to get some money from the UK Games Fund to do another project, which is small, more bigger than a comic book, but smaller than another game. And then whilst we were kind of like shoehorning a story to fit the type of game to fit the budget, it dawned on me that it's got a very bad habit of video games, and I tend to like genre hop. And if you're kind of like trying to build a sustainable studio, like genre hop is not a very clever thing to do because you kind of want to use the tools that you've made from the previous game to help you make the next game cheaper. Yeah, who's getting away with that? I guess Biffle Games are getting away with that at the moment. So if that's anything, they're an inspiration for me. Let's see if I can follow in their footsteps. But yeah, so I guess we'll just wrap this up because I do have to go. I was just gonna tell you guys about my goals. So ideally, through the whole storyverse that we have, if we have different jumping on points for people, we could have people who like comic books but don't necessarily like video games. But if they like the comic book enough, they could be enticed slightly to try one of them. And then that goes the other way around as well. So we've got video games people like, oh, well, maybe you should try comic books. They're cool. But the ultimate goal is like if someone experiences one piece of content and they just go, oh yeah, that was pretty awesome. I enjoyed that. Puts it down and moves on. That's all fine. But if by some miracle we can make a legion of people who experience all of the content, they can be like, oh shit, like that's the guy from that book, or you know, that's the dude from the film. You know, I would love that. And it's going to be a bit of a long journey, but you know, we've got bits in places that's going to put us on a course or a chance of having success. So I'm actually quite excited. But yeah, that's about it.